Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I'm your host, John Ryan. I have Rob Veno on the show as a regular guest. Tony Finn, we're hoping he's going to be able to join us. These guys are very busy, so we always respect the time and always appreciate when they come on. And we have a debut today. We are fortunate enough to have Hakeem Profit on the show at Ski Profit. That's at SKEEPROFIT. He's a sports bettor. He loves the Lakers, which automatically makes him a friend of mine. Chargers, Dodgers, there's another one makes him a friend of mine. Sparks, UCLA basketball, Texas football, and I love his pinned tweet. I'm here not to compete with anybody. I'm here to share and gain knowledge. I'm about positive vibes and making money. Nothing more, nothing less. And Rob, I would have to say that that kind of sums up our whole theme with this show. We're not trying to impress anybody. We like to win more than we lose, certainly, and I think we've done a good job with that. But we're all trying to get better every single day. So, guys, welcome to the show. And Hakeem, I'd like you to just give a little background about how you got involved with this, and some of really the floor is yours. You can say whatever you want about your background. Let people get to know you that don't already know you.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on. First of all, it's good to be on here with you guys. And
appreciate it.
For anybody who doesn't know, I kind of got into this industry maybe as far as doing it professionally. I started maybe 3 years ago, 2018, 2017-ish. And I used to work at the post office. I would go do shows with Rob and going home from work, or sometimes even in my car. But how I got started, I live in Vegas now. I took the weekend off from the post office. I came out here to Vegas, networked with some people at an event called International Football Betting Conference. People like Kelly Stewart, she was there, et cetera, and just talking to people. Eventually, I began doing a show. Wasn't getting paid to do it, and had success. Was winning games, and people liked the show, and that's kind of how I got started.
That's awesome. That's a good way to get started too. Really good. Because you didn't have any expectations. You weren't. It's just class act.
I appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely, I love it. So today's Tuesday, and I just got back from Florida. I was down in that Ponte Vedra area, and I did walk over with Carol, and we rode bike over to the TPC. And took a look at the golf course. I didn't play it because I haven't had the vaccine yet. But we went down to see family. And when you go 2 years without seeing family, it gets to the point where you just gotta do it. But I can tell you that course, and I've never been there in this time of the year, was just absolutely incredible to look at. I mean, every blade of grass, and it just, for me, that's kind of like a pseudo church. It's a really cool spot. And if you like golf and you haven't ever played that course, I would recommend that before Pebble Beach or any of the other names that you can get on. It's that good. So now I'm back.
Lessons, John?
Oh, I don't think you would need any lessons, Hakeem. I'm sure you're pretty athletic. So.
I don't know. I went to Topgolf and I was making a fool of myself.
Well, we all do that. TPC is the type of course where I think, even if you're a low handicapper, you kind of just appreciate the opportunity to play those 18 holes. And if you're lucky enough to break 80, even though you're a 3 handicap, that's a very good round. They don't even let you play the back tees. And at pro standard, it's not that long. But it's at sea level. The air sometimes can get very humid, and it goes nowhere. But the way they have that course designed right now, with the variety of holes, it's worth the $500 greens fees, which they now charge. And believe me, the place was pretty full yesterday when we were over there. So I think they could make it $600, and it wouldn't change anything. Right. But anyway, the reason I started with that was the Masters was yesterday, and you guys don't do too much golf betting. I tend to do that. I've David Berman from ESPN on as an expert. He's been on 8 times, and He only lost one of his best bets that he released on the show. So he's a guy that I've never met anybody that just has that feel and the analytical knowledge that he has for the PGA and the Masters. So if you think about it, nobody had Matsuyama winning this thing, including myself. I actually had a Patrick Cantlay, who did not make the cut. But I had 7 entries in DraftKings. 2 of them cashed pretty well. Move on to next week. And the one takeaway I'll tell you, and if you haven't seen this, I'm sure it's on Twitter. When Matsuyama wins, his caddy takes his hat off and bows to the course. In that Japanese honor. And I just thought, I got chills watching it. I was just like, whoa. And they put the flag back in the hole, obviously, and then, on they went. And, what a great thing for golf and being the first major champion out of Japan, which is a nation that loves golf. So this can only be a very, very good thing. So I know there's probably no interest in you guys talking more about the Masters. So if that is the case, we can move on to whatever you want. You want to start with the NBA, Ski, and some of the games you like?
Yeah, we could do that. I don't know where you want to start. Does it matter which game we start with?
What was your angle today, John? Did you have one?
I did. But I think the one yesterday was even better from what Ski told me. I was flying. I didn't know what was going on, but I was told that I wasn't embarrassed on the show, so I guess that's pretty good.
No, you did the embarrassing yesterday.
Yeah. So, Golden State was yesterday, and then today, let's start out with that. Let me just pull up the... So here we go. This is called the Letdown NBA betting angle for April the 13th. Bet on a home dogs with a losing record on the season. The guest is on a win streak of at least 4 games. The guest is a playoff-bound team with a win percentage of at least 60% on the season. Over the past 5 seasons, straight-up record's not so good, 56-104. But the ATS is 159-1 against the spread for 63% bets. And I think we have a new friend in the house here. I don't mean to stop right in the middle of it, but if he's here, he's got to hear this.
Right on cue.
Yeah, that Tony Finn guy, man, I'm telling you, he makes fun of my betting system one more time. That's it. Oh, hey, Tone. We can't hear you.
Muted.
I'm muted because that's the way most people prefer me muted. I wanted to throw something in today on that betting system, but not with Teddy, not with the boss. Teddy, not with Teddy there, so I didn't. Teddy's not as bad as like Rob. Oh, hey Rob, or Ski. Oh, hey,
Good afternoon, Tone.
So, I told everybody, this is how we, old guys would be. Well, Ski's not old, but this is how 4 guys would get together at a bar and talk sports, right? It's kind of normal. But Tony, I was doing my betting system here. And I'll start over. Bet on home dogs with a losing record on the season. The guest is on a win streak of at least 4 games. The guest is a good team, playoff bound, with a win percentage of 60. That system has gone 56-104 straight up, but 100 wins, 59 losses, 1 push for 63%. And the subset caveat here is if the home team is no more than a 4-point dog, which the Indiana Pacers are, that betting record improves to 26-13 ATS for 67% winning bets over the last 5 seasons. That tells you to bet on the Indiana Pacers, plus the points over those unpredictable LA Clippers. And I also said add a sprinkle to the money line.
The unpredictable word in that system, did it say?
Oh, it actually was on the slide. Yeah, I'm just reading what I wrote.
Okay. Were they? Is it Arby's, McDonald's, or Applebee's where they ate lunch?
I would think the Pacers would take Applebee's, don't you?
Probably. It's a Kansas City-based company, but very possible. Yeah. They're both pretty. Republican states, I think. So yeah, probably Applebee's.
I didn't know Republicans eat Applebee's. Only Republicans.
Oh yeah.
Ski, I learned one thing about this show that I'll never forget from Tony is that the Patriots were not the only team to cheat.
That's right.
I learned that from Tony Finn, and I would have never known any better.
Well, I just said this. I just stated the facts when I said I got blown up one time. I got quite a few drive-bys in my Twitter. Got a couple pellets in my ass, and I had to be the bearer of bad news. I had to be the messenger. I just basically said, don't shoot the messenger. But every Division I power basketball coach, not Power 6 coach, cheats. Every one of them. And in the NFL, they all cheat as much as they can.
Like card playing?
It all falls back to Bear Bryant. Or, they say Bear Bryant said this. I don't think he necessarily did. I think he stole it, too, because he cheated. And that was, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, if you ain't trying, you ain't cheating.
Steve Jobs had a quote like that. Steve Jobs said that if you're not failing, you're not learning. And if you're not failing, you're no good for me.
That's true. You're supposed to.
It's kind of the same thing, right?
My biggest lessons have come from, my failures. And some of them I don't know if it's some kind of a disease, but I just can't quit repeating those failures too. So
I think you're in good company, Tony. The founder of Honda, I always remember this because, as Steve Merrill says, you have to be a financial guy to say catch a falling knife. So I say it all the time. But
I guess I'm in trouble then.
the founder of chairman of Honda, he was asked, like, what do you attribute all your success to? And he said, 90, my success is attributed to the 99% of the time I failed.
Yeah.
And you don't fail that much.
Well, no, I fail more than
outside of sports.
Oh, well, according to my wife, 101% of the time. 101%.
That's only one. That's a small sample size, though. That's only one person.
That means I failed more than it's possible to fail. I have failed more than it's even possible to. So I have achieved something. And we had a good day yesterday. Everybody, Ski have a good day yesterday?
Negative.
No. Rob? Yes.
It's all right, Tony. I know you just wanted to make fun of me. Yeah. I know how it goes.
No, it's not that at all. Because if I wanted to make fun of you, it would be much worse than that. It would be much more in depth, detailed, and all those kinds of things. So I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a COVID call today, so I had to replace one of our patriarchs that got the shot. He was not reacting very well, and I hear that from a lot of people who are not reacting very well from the shot. Of course, they won't give me the shot because you know where I'm at. I'm in that folder where it says collateral damage. They don't give a shit. No shot for Tony.
There's gotta be. I heard there's about 5 people in that group too.
Well, I don't know if they're not in good company. I'm not sure I'm in good company either, but they're certainly not because they got stuck with me.
So my pick on the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, yes.
Transitioning.
And it felt like confession hour. I was ready to drive you to church.
Oh, yes. I wear my helmet, too. As soon as
I'm going to start with Mr. Veno here because he's been nice and quiet and mature, and he's smart, too.
That's right.
So I like the Pacers quite a bit here. I think it's more than a sprinkle on the money line. I think they win the game outright. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I got a lot pent up here after what I've been listening to. First off, your angle yesterday, I was not thrilled with, John Ryan, because I bet the other side pretty well, so I'll try not to go against you again. Secondly, when you dropped into this 4-box look, I noticed that Ski has a grand piano at his place. I'm like, what the hell?
For somebody who didn't do very well yesterday, I don't see anybody breaking the door down to get those Reynolds back.
Holy cow.
No, paid for. We can all play the piano.
You and Sly Stone. Sly's hiding under the piano, though, because he's stoned out of his mind. He probably got a shotgun, thinks the police are... Did I just say all that about Sly? Because Sly's a good guy.
All right, Sly.
All right.
Listen, hey, the COVID shot, I got one on Friday. I had no bad reaction to it. So
that's good.
That's good. Another quick story here, guys, real quick. Of course, I'm off track now, but My wife and son drove to get the shot this morning, the coronavirus vaccine, 8 a.m. this morning. They show
They're
up
not back
5
yet?
of 8. They shut it down as they went to go
What?
get theirs.
Why?
J&J got shut down. So
Oh
back
yeah.
to the drawing board. I got
Why?
J&J. I don't think I developed any blood clots. I don't know, but hopefully not.
Why did they shut that down? Is it because of the reactions, or what is it?
4 people apparently got blood clots. I don't know the details
Uh-huh.
whatsoever. It just came up this morning real early. Of course, we're pretty unaware.
I'm on
Otherwise,
some.
they
I'm
would
on
be
some
driven.
pretty good blood thinner, so
You'll be fine.
yeah, I'll be fine.
The vodka will kill it. No problem.
So, Ski, do you like Indiana?
Hey, wait a minute.
I didn't think he was even going to notice I skipped over him. All right, we'll let Rob still have.
That's what happens when Tony gets involved. Then it goes off the rails.
Yeah.
Indiana. The only thing I want to say about Indiana, guys, real quick here, is we've seen this now for 2-3 games here where they're steaming Indiana totals to the over. They're playing extremely fast. Just a quick look. When I did the box score work the other night, there were 115 field goal attempts taken by Memphis alone in that game, where it was steamed from like 226.5 to 234.5. The game went well over the total from the opening tip. Indiana, I think, had about 95 shots themselves. It worked out to 210 field goal attempts in 4 quarters, which is crazy fast. So it looks like a certain philosophy change here in Indiana. You see the steam again. I got there a little bit early this morning before it pushed all the way to 232. 232.5 at some point this morning. But where Indiana's concerned, you have to be on the lookout for them just now playing sheer we'll try to outscore you basketball. It's a small team. I don't know. Miles Turner, Ski, yes or no tonight? I didn't see definitive.
No.
But it puts Sabonis in the middle, and they become real small. And with Karis LeVert, they become really efficient offensively. So, Indiana trending toward the over. As far as the game itself, like I say, John, I bashed my head against that angle last night. I won't do it again today. So Indiana.
Well, you never bet against John Ryan when he's in a jet. That's the moral of the story.
Write it down, Tone.
Yep.
Is he in a jet right now?
No.
Yeah.
Right.
What airline?
It was American.
JetBlue.
Oh, American.
Had 2 engines and everything. It was pretty cool.
They were working.
John Ryan,
Yeah.
2-engine plane.
Well, I'm thrilled to know that you're not in the jet. That means I could bet against you today.
Yeah. So here we go. Here are the Clippers.
I wouldn't bet against you, but I would say that last game that Indiana played, you guys, where they wired Memphis. Well, I talked a little bit about it on the show today. You remember they wired Memphis. We're up by almost 20 a couple times in that game, and shot 53% from the floor in the game. And with a minute to go, Memphis was down 1 point. That's how much defense Indiana is playing, because if you got a 20-point lead or almost a 20-point lead and you're shooting 50 plus from the floor, you're not supposed to be caught from behind. You're supposed to be the rabbit. I didn't watch most of the game, but I went to the box score, went by play by play, because I was curious, as to how this could happen. But it was played fast, like Rob, like you said. So I don't see that changing with Turner out. I mean, in truth, Teddy said something today to the NBA show. That's true. Maybe the 4 best defensive players are out tonight.
Game, sure.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
for the Clippers, the best defenders are out.
Leonard, Beverly, Ibaka.
We know the
Chewbacca.
feeling, right, Ski,
Chewbacca.
of giving the ball to Reggie Jackson for any length of time. It's going to be
Painful.
he's
especially when only in October do you bet Reggie Jackson.
Well, about that defense,
the
though,
best 3-point
I don't get
shooting
that.
team in the league, right?
Mr. October.
they are at least the last 10 games for sure.
Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
All right. He went deep 3 times in one game in the World Series. Name the pitchers. Charlie Huff, Bert Hooten. I can't remember the third one now. And I asked the question.
Saberhagen. Oh no, the World Series that
no.
wouldn't happen. No. That would have been
Charlie Huff was the third one, being a
Cool.
Dodger
Yep,
fan.
it
I
was.
remember it.
Who was
Charlie
it?
Huff was the third one. Bert Hooton cried on the mound. Believe me, those 2 World Series, being a Dodger fan in 77, 78 were painful. The one where Reggie sticks his ass out and knocks the ball down the right field line. And
You really don't want. I mean, I have a lot of Reggie Jackson stories, but they're all young.
Yeah, I
you know.
But
Yeah.
Ski wants to talk about the Pacers. He was asked 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no clue who those guys are that you're talking about, by the way.
Reggie Jackson.
We have an honest man in the house.
You better know who Reggie Jackson is.
The basketball player.
Michael's brother played baseball.
Do you know Steve Garvey, Steve?
I started watching MLB in 2015.
Wow.
So
I guess
the
that would
current
mean
Dodger roster is more your speed for sure. Clayton Kershaw,
There you go.
JT, and all those guys.
Yeah. Now you're speaking my
Yeah,
language.
these are old-time Dodgers.
Does he know who Kirk Gibson is?
That name rings a bell.
Every Dodger has to
I know
Dodger
where
has
I
to know who Kirk
was.
Gibson is.
Where were you guys? I know exactly where I was. What I was
Yeah,
doing.
I know
when
where I
Kirk
was.
Gibson hit
I
that
was
home
watching
run.
TV when that happened.
I was watching TV, but I was doing about 10 other things too, because I can multitask. Maybe.
I honestly really hated baseball before 2015. Like I didn't give it a chance.
You know, that's part of my story, and that is listen, I grew up on baseball because we didn't have Nintendo and all these 109. I have 36,000 channels on my TV right now, my streaming app. 36,000 channels. I had 3 channels when I was growing up, and I only was in control of Saturday morning cartoons. That's it.
Wow, I had 8 channels. But you know what? You had to get up off the couch to turn it. So my dad would always. I was the remote.
Yes. Yeah, it was
That was my
uphill.
dad's remote.
Yeah, it was uphill to the TV both ways. You had to
Yeah,
climb
but it was
uphill
really
to the
uphill.
to the
It was
channel.
really uphill to the roof, where my father used
The
to have
antenna.
the antennas up on the roof and
Yeah,
put
right.
tinfoil on these stupid things, and I'd have to yell up to tell him when the reception was coming in. So it was, it was different. That was to bring the local broadcast of the New York Football Giants in on Channel 3.
And
And
it wasn't
even,
probably the best picture either, you know.
No,
And
it was
our channel, the knob was broken. Us kids, we'd fought over turning it on Saturday morning so much. We broke the damn thing where you turn the channel. We had to have pliers to turn the channel. That was true. Absolutely.
See, you'll have to on YouTube Google or not Google. Just go on YouTube and search Kirk Gibson, and you'll have a new favorite Dodger player.
Okay. I'll
He had
definitely check him out.
did he have a broken leg officially when he hit that home run?
No.
wasn't broken, but it wasn't in great shape either. So
Actually, it was a knee, wasn't it? It was the ACL was
Yeah.
blown out or something.
and
It was-
he
the room-
did it in the playoff series right before that.
Yeah.
Against
The
the
rumor
Mets.
was that night they saw him. He was running, dancing with the girls and running around. He was fine. It was all L.A. Hollywood showcase. Showboat.
Stop ruining it for me, Tone.
It's just rumor.
So let's hear what Ski says about the Clippers and why he likes them.
Yeah, he doesn't like the Clippers.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, I think personally, I don't like the Clippers at all.
Well, I can understand why.
But just in this game today, I think Indiana may be the more motivated team, but I just don't think they're that great in general. I'm not really impressed that they beat Memphis just because Memphis, they're kind of on my shit list right now. The way that they kind of been giving games away. And the Clippers, they've won 8 out of 10. And I see your angle, John Ryan, I'll raise you one. I look at the Clippers, or I look at teams in general that are on a 5 or more game win streak, and they're playing opponents with less than a 50% win percentage. So they're less than 500, which the Pacers are. 78-24 straight up. And that's back to 2019. That's 76.5%. Clippers are only a 3-point favorite. You're basically just asking them to win a game. And I don't think that they'll have trouble scoring without Kawhi. Looking at Indiana without Turner, they go from allowing 112 with him to allowing 126.8. So the defense just goes out of the window. So I'll probably look a little bit more towards the Clipper side. I agree with Rob on the over. He talked about Pacers pace and everything and just the lack of defense that we're going to see today. And I also like Paul George tonight, especially, we have Kawhi out. His point total early this morning was 26.5. I think it probably went up to probably 27.5, 28 by now. But he's gotten 32, 33, 36 in his last game, and he should have the green light tonight with no Kawhi on the floor. So against a defenseless Indiana, I like his point total over.
The Clippers are averaging 109.5 points per game without Leonard in active this year. Last year, 115 points per game. 8-7 last year, 6-5 so far this year without Kawhi. So, and a lot of that can be deceptive. We all know that depends on who the games were against. Were they? I just went to look those up this morning because I was curious, and because I looked at this total, and when I see that and this total and the fact that it's this isn't public money that originally hit this, so there's some sharp money on it.
Yeah, let me add here real quick because Tony made the point a few minutes ago about Indiana shooting tremendously well, should have been the rabbit, and still barely won the game, right?
Yep.
The last game the Clippers played on Sunday, they shot 62.5% from the floor, 57% from three, and couldn't cover the Pistons. They scored 131 points and gave up the 124. So I think everything we're saying here is kind of coming back to the same place, right? We don't expect a lot of defense. The Clipper injuries probably take their best defenders out of the game. For Indiana, when you have Sabonis in the middle, that kind of takes paint defense out of the game. And both of these teams want to go quick. They want to score. And the Clippers, again, one of the best three-point shooting teams, if not the best, in the league. So
40%.
You can understand
40%. Yeah, you're right. 40% they've shot without Leonard, too, from the three-point line this year. 40%. Barely shooting. And shooting only 46% from the floor overall. So.
Should be a high-scoring game, John. Sidewise, I got no opinion.
Yeah, I like the total over as well. In supporting the Clippers, I have systems. I can tell you systems on both sides. But my stuff really is generated from the machine learning stuff, and then I go in here and hand pick a system that supports that play. So I don't bet, exclusively on one system or one angle or one thing. It's it's the whole ball of wax. But the last time these two teams played, it was a Clippers blowout win of I think it was 36 points off the top of my head. So this one supports the Clippers, and you play against home underdogs that are revenging a blowout loss to the current opponent of 30 or more points. And with that opponent coming off a home win, scoring more than the league average of 111 points. And that's been the league average for the last 3 seasons, actually. So that one has gone 47, 16, and 2 over the last 25 years for 73%. So that's why I think I just brought up a really good example that would be a good show for, what they call the green shelf shows or whatever it is. That it's valid for many seasons to come. When you have two systems like this, one supports Indiana and one supports the Clippers, you obviously need to have more research to determine which team is the better bet. And I won't start going down that rabbit hole with some of the mathematical stuff I do, because it's just not interesting. It's just not interesting. To me it is, but our chat room would go down to zero.
Math, no math.
Can I really quick, we skipped by it when we talked about Golden State last night, John, but that Jamal Murray injury last night with about 57 seconds left in the game is just brutal. In a lot of instances, certainly for the Nuggets' playoff chances, they're about shot at this point in time. Whether they can make it out of a they could make it out of a first-round series, but you get my point. When they got Aaron Gordon, they had way bigger expectations for this season than what they're going to wind up with. And as somebody who at the time when they acquired Aaron Gordon got Denver at plus 900, figuring maybe I can make it back to the Western Conference Finals and then find a way to hedge out and cash pretty well off of that one ticket. It's just not going to happen anymore. I actually cashed that ticket out this afternoon and took a pretty good percentage of my money back. I can't believe they gave me that much back, but they did. So you had to take it. But it's just terrible in a loss in a game that they were actually still trying to win, but they weren't going to win. And something like that happens non-contact. Pretty tough for Denver.
My question
Sure is.
was he healthy going into that? He was questionable. In fact, I played that under last night, and I didn't expect him to play.
He shouldn't have played.
It didn't look. It did it.
They won like 8 out of 9 games. What do you rush him back from a knee injury
I
for?
don't know.
Absolutely.
That was my question.
And you know what? They failed. They failed in the same miserable way they failed the day before against the Celtics, playing just fine. That third, it happened. It happened a little earlier in the third last night. They didn't wait till there were only 3 minutes left in the third before they totally caved. But boy, Steph Curry. I mean, and again, 3 of us and Ski, for the time that you've been watching basketball. I mean, I know you'll probably say this, but for somebody who can remember basketball back to, about 68, guys, about 1968. I saw Earl Monroe join Twitter, which made me think of this. But
back in 1968?
He joined it just last night.
Knicks.
But it reminded me of him and Frazier in the backcourt. But Steph Curry, out of every NBA player I've ever seen, is by far, well, I won't say by far, but he is the best pure shooter I've ever seen. So for the young generation that believes it already, you can go to the older generation, guys like myself that I think can confirm that, because we've seen a lot of players, a lot of great shooters where there was no three-point line, right? And guys that probably would have been more successful with the three-point line.
Pistol Pete was a pretty good shooter too.
He was a very good, and probably my favorite player as a kid. In fact, was my favorite player as a kid. But this Steph Curry shoots the ball like nobody I've ever seen. I mean, every time he put it up last night, I know I'm screwed. I got the other side.
When he gets on one of those rolls,
it's
there's
unreal.
Nothing you can do. Nothing. Just let him. Just if in the old days though, they'd have taken his ass out. In our day, you shoot like that, you go. You better have that Velcro, that flak jacket on, because they're coming after you.
Yeah, there'd have been a set of Steph rules, just like Jordan rules or anything else. But I'm just saying, this guy,
there were.
He's unbelievable, and he's missed. I mean, I didn't look it up, but I don't know how much time he's missed due to injury. If he hadn't missed so much time because his ankle was so bad when he first came out of college.
It was made of glass.
This Will Chamberlain record would have fell a lot quicker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when he first came out too, he was with Monte Ellis, and had to deal with sharing with him and everything before they eventually shipped Ellis out of there.
Right.
So I agree, he would have gotten there.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, he's just a tremendous shooter. I mean, it's a shame Klay Thompson isn't there with him, but he showed you last night. I mean, the supporting cast didn't do much, guys. They really didn't do much. He carried that team from start to finish. So good job out of Steph. Bad news for Jamal Murray. We like the Pacers over. I got the 5:30 injury report pulled up here. I was just trying to see if I could get pure confirmation on Trae Young being in the lineup. I mean, the way the number and the total moved, you would have to say yes. The way the line and the total moved about 4 hours ago.
I played them. I went ahead and played them. Like I said in the show, with Trae Young, I'm in and I'm all in. I'm in as much as my limit would let me. My money management. Even with that Trae Young, I'm still in. I don't know if what did the report say?
It's still got questionable tone. I'm going through it right now.
Yeah, I would say that my guess is that he's in. That's just by looking at the line. But then I was wrong 10 times before noon. So
hey, listen,
I'll say
we're all glad to see that Minnesota's daytime defense is no different than its nighttime.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that too.
Brooklyn has 95 with 5 minutes left in the third.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's well, that brings up an interesting topic too. Like, maybe I can what's that word? Segue ourselves into it. It sounds like a hoagie shop segue. Anyway, Indiana plays Houston tomorrow. Yeah. And here's where we can talk a little bit about math. So regardless of the outcome of tonight's game, which I clearly think My side is Indiana. I could be dead wrong. I was right yesterday, so I'm due to be wrong today, right, Tone? So Houston tomorrow is 6-23 against the spread when playing against a team with a losing record this season. Now, this is one of the ones that has absolutely little meaning at this point, being that it's 29 games and it's 6-23, and this is a game that I will be either, it might be my free pick tomorrow on Sports Memo, and it'll be on Houston. And not because of this one little thing, but this is a great example of these trends that beginning bettors will look at, and they'll see it and they go, oh yeah, Houston sucks. They're terrible, and yes they are. But the market adjusts to reflect that, and sometimes the market over adjusts, even on the bad teams. And I think this is a.
I'm in. I'm in on Houston with you. If John Wall's playing, I'm in.
Well, he's got a day of rest, Tone, and it seems to be when he's got a day of rest, they play him.
I'm with you.
When
I'm
they
with you, John.
play back-to-backs. Hey, guys, I'll give you the number. The overnight number is up already. Indiana 5.5 and 233.
That's
you tell me off the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does reflect that, and the public is going to be banging Indiana, especially if they lose to the Clippers tonight.
I'm gonna see it.
So I'm going to take Indiana tonight. They'll lose, and then I'll take Houston tomorrow, and they'll lose by 30. Right?
Well, hopefully it'll go the other way around for you. I'm not personally on the Clippers myself. I just was talking how I looked it up.
But, I mean, we all know it's hard to bet against the Clippers with Indiana, but this is a situation where I think it's a good spot, in my opinion. And then no rest, and they have to play Houston in Houston. That's where, you could go, oh, my God, on Thursday, Houston won a game.
I can see it happening. I wouldn't be against that. And Houston's been a team that I've been against for a majority of the season. They've been the main team that I would not put any money on, so. That says a lot for me.
I have that at 7, so it's not that far off. But I have that number. I have that at 7 points.
And while we're at
NBA tip-off today, guys, did you guys cover Miami Phoenix?
We did
Was
not.
that one of your games?
No. I would like to have talked about it.
Just on that game in particular, since John was going on, back-to-back situations, Phoenix, obviously last night against Houston, didn't seemingly feel like they needed to do too much to win that game. You could tell as Houston covers pretty easily. Phoenix gives up a ton of points, although they've been giving up a lot of points lately. But tonight against Miami, 3, now up to 3.5. Just curious, Ski and Tony, how you view that, if Phoenix was definitely looking ahead to Miami, or if Phoenix's defense is showing a little bit of a chink in the armor here lately. They're playing great offense. Man, they hadn't scored like they've scored in the last 7-8 games to start the season, or for the first half of the season at least. But, I mean, that's a back-to-backer. What do you guys think?
Phoenix is one. The Ski. Phoenix is like Utah, is like the Clippers, not quite as good as them, but they've been really good in the second leg of back-to-backs. The fact is that they
8-4 against the spread is what I have.
Yeah, what I find more interesting than 8-4, what I look at is the margin of victory is about 8, and they've beaten the line by I think 5 points. Each one of those second legs, look at the Clippers margin of victory is 14 in those second legs, and they've beaten the line by almost 9 points on average. So those are numbers put right there with Utah and Phoenix. Those are big numbers, and you can ignore them if you want, but we could cherry pick and go.
I don't think it's specifically on the second of a back-to-back, though. I think they beat teams by margin all throughout the year.
Well, there's no doubt about it. But if you look at the rest of the league on back-to-backs and the MOVs and the plus minus ATS, and you'll find that it's the dichotomy, this discrepancy differential is fairly large.
The Clippers, I think Ski might have said this. I was just pulling up on my database. Clippers are 9-1 against the spread this season with no rest.
Yep.
9-1 straight up. 4-6 over. That you would think that those games would go over, but the Jazz are 8-2. Right. Wizards have 8 wins, 5 losses against the spread. The worst team, is the Milwaukee Bucks, 2-5-1 against the number on with no rest.
Yeah. And a negative. They have a negative number, significantly negative number against the number. On average, I think it was. I looked at that too. 4 or 5 points for a team like Milwaukee. Those are the kind of numbers that rest with teams like Toronto, and Toronto's been pretty miserable with no rest. They've been pretty miserable all year, truthfully.
Yeah, the Bucks have the third worst record, Tony. You're right, against the spread. 22-30 with one push for the season.
Yeah.
42%. And the Pacers are second worst, 21-30. So they're due to win. Ski doesn't know. When I say due to win, I'm being sarcastic because there is no such thing as due to win. It's like 9 flips of a penny or 9 reds come up in roulette and everybody wants to bet red for the 10th one.
It's like motivation. I have motivation to win every night. It doesn't mean I'm going to win.
At roulette?
I'm motivated to.
Yeah, once I've had enough drinks, that's how I play roulette.
Well, it stands to reason. And of course, the Rockets have the worst record.
Talk to me about Victor Oladipo, guys.
Yep.
He came back. They weren't scoring well at all. He comes back. The first game back, they don't score well. But the next 4 games, they go for 110 or more. And it looked like that offense that they were, putting up last year on their way to the finals was coming back a little bit. Now he's done, it looks like. I don't think they're going to bring him back. That knee, he was not walking too good on it.
He's been a mess since
when he left. But from a total perspective, do we start? I mean, I'm trying to read Eric Spoelstra's mind here. Does he go back to what he was doing without him, which was playing a lot of defense and slowing pace because they're one of the slowest paced teams, minus those 4 games where they were scoring a lot? Or do they try to stay in that rhythm? I don't know what to do with this total here tonight, Miami Phoenix.
Well, until Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro start shooting the 3 better, they're going to have to win games by playing slow and playing defense because think about their success last year. Those guys were on fire every single game, and now they're 27th in 3-point percentage over the last 10 games.
In hindsight, is it fair to say that, listen, Miami hit their – I don't put too much weight on teams that have peaked too early or too late, but I think it's fair to say that Miami hit their peak at the right time last year, and Boston had some injuries that hurt them, and I was surprised. I actually was very surprised that. Well, I shouldn't be. The Lakers are the team they were last year and the team they are this year. If they were to repeat, they'll win it much like they did last year, and that is they'll be better defensively. They'll make a big shot, and they'll get and we both know the King will get every call in his favor, and that's the way they'll win. They're certainly not going to be blowing people out by 30, unless LeBron and the Brow can come back, in top form, which I think we all know that it's just not that the makeup, the DNA of that and the skill set of that team when they're healthy even is play hard defense, grind away, and they know how to win. There's a big difference, a huge difference in this league. Teams that know how to win, teams that know they're going to win. That Lillard attitude, that Lillard, every game is his last game. He takes the court, and it is his last game. That's the way he plays. Hard. I don't know how he's still
so we like
walking.
Him.
He shouldn't even be walking after this year as much the beating he's taken,
Hey, let's give some Turkish love out to Enes Kanter and those 30 boards.
Wow. How about that? Who was that against? Capella? Was that who did he get those boards against?
Yeah, who was that?
Because I'm embarrassed for him.
I don't think
30 boards against where the hell are they? Real quick while I look this up, guys, how about Utah? They lose straight up to Washington last night. No Jordan Clarkson tonight. Mike Conley will be back, but no Royce O'Neal. Did I see Joe Ingles as well? No Joe Ingles. I don't know, man. They probably still beat Oklahoma City, but 16.5, Jesus.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I really like.
I lean OKC.
really like the under in this. OKC is averaging about 98 points a game over their last 10. And they've scored a couple times. They've scored 85 against teams that can't play a lick of defense. I mean, I really believe this team would be, to some degree, they would have improved over the last 10 games. But they're not. They haven't.
If anybody's tanking, it's OKC. Like, they're cutting players.
You won't even know they're tanking. Their coach say, "What are you tanking? Look at the career averages of these guys. We're not tanking."
And, in that game too, I like to play against teams that have lost 5 games or more in a row. If you've done so all season, 40 and 25 against the spread.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. It's real good. Love it.
Where that tanking goes, guys, I honestly didn't think they were ever going to bring Lou Dort and Baisley back into the lineup. Then last game, all of a sudden, they're bringing these guys back. What are they doing? Just let
Dort can't score, so you don't have to worry about that.
Why bring those guys back? I don't. But he'll try, Tone. He'll try.
Yeah, he will. He'll try. But he can't shoot, so it doesn't matter.
And Baisley can't shoot either, because I think when those guys came back the other day,
yeah.
And I'm doing this off the top of my head. I got to reach for some box scores here, but I think they were like 5 for 26 from 3-point range as soon as those guys came back against Philadelphia. Or maybe Sunday.
Yeah.
But 16.5 is a lot of points.
I looked at a box score last night after it was all said and done, and I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was. I thought it was. Utah loses last night. I thought Washington was miserable from the 3-point line. Still won. I had to look at that. There was a team that won that was just miserable.
It was the Knicks. The Knicks were horrendous.
That's right. The Knicks won, and they were like 2 for 80 from the 3-point line, and they scored 55 points in the paint last night against that Lakers team.
18.5% from 3-point range.
Look at 55 points in the paint. Now,
wait, go ahead, Tom. 1 second. And the Lakers shot 56% from 3. So the Lakers made 19 threes. The Knicks made 5, and the Knicks won going away.
And Drummond scores 3, and they scored 55 points in the paint. What the hell were you doing, Drummond? What were you doing?
David,
on the bench?
That good.
Well, he played 27 or almost 30 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers' turnover ratio was crazy. 22 assists, 24 turnovers. Actually, guys, they did not shoot. The Lakers I'm talking about did not shoot that good. I was looking at the Brooklyn game by mistake. The Lakers shot 33% from 3, but still the Knicks were terrible, like you say, Tone. But they made it up in 2-pointers because they shot 62% from 2-point range.
Yeah, they did.
And the Lakers they turned the ball over, 24 turnovers.
Yes, they did. I was glad to see that that not only Drummond but the whole team took some responsibility for that loss. Most of it had to do with being careless with the ball, not valuing possessions. But I still think they didn't. I tell you what, the King. Before they played that game, King said, "Listen, let the Knicks have their moment, their 15-minute moment in the Garden. We'll take care of business tomorrow night, because this compressed schedule is
garbage.
It's garbage,
yeah.
And I agree with almost everybody who complained about this play-in game. It makes no sense, none, zero,
terrible,
how horrible. But it was unanimous by the owners." So if you hear an owner complain about it, Mark Cuban.
Why? Because they're going to make more money.
Yeah.
More games.
Huh?
More money, more games.
Yeah.
Well, that's why yeah. But Mark Cuban, he's backing off of it now. He's saying, you know what? In hindsight, this is stupid. But I voted for it because I like money.
Yeah, because as soon as Luka popped off, he has to come to back Luka and say that. You know what I mean? But Andre Drummond against Charlotte tonight, Ski. I mean, that should be a rebound dominance against this team. I don't know what the props are where he's concerned, but
he was 12.5 yesterday. I'll pull it up and see where he's at today. But he only got 10 yesterday, so I do agree. It matches up well.
He was sleeping. He took 3 shots. 3 shots. 1 for 3 from the floor. The hell's going on?
That was Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10 rebounds.
Yeah,
and he only had 10.
5 turnovers. I think 5 turnovers and 1 assist. Pretty typical.
Oh,
listen, but Drummond last year. Look at his numbers from last year. he did some things that were that haven't been done very often. I can't remember. I was some of the stuff I read. I don't know. Drummond. I don't know. I know this. I thought I'm one of the ones that thought the Lakers. You knew there was going to be a learning curve for Drummond and this offense and these players. So the fact that they've lost 3 of the last 4 doesn't surprise me one bit. That's the 4 games Drummond has been back for. And it's the first game he's played in how long? I think 45 days.
Am I mistaken? Didn't we win like 2 games or something? We won versus Brooklyn. We won versus Miami, right? Or
Brooklyn. I think just Brooklyn.
Because when we were on the tip-off show Monday, just yesterday, I mean, I know it came out of my mouth. I was talking about how Andre Drummond's a beast on the boards. He just had like 22 rebounds
right against Brooklyn.
Before that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he can sleepwalk through a game and get 10 tonight against Charlotte, if he comes to play, I mean, he's got to get 16, 18 rebounds against this team. There's just no way.
The King is coaching tonight. He'll be on the sideline in street clothes. There will be no one but King coaching tonight. They will win. Right?
Okay, it wasn't the Heat. It was the Raptors that they beat, and Drummond didn't even play.
Yeah, that was before he played. He's been back for 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. I think I might be wrong, but I think that yesterday was his 4th.
In his career.
That toenail come off his foot in that one game.
Oh, that's a foul.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Ouch.
they showed it on TV. It was disgusting.
Listen,
Andre Drummond's teams, when he gets 10 or fewer rebounds, they are 51 and 111 straight up, 60 and 103 against the spread. In I don't know how far this actually goes back in my database, but I guess his full career.
I'm gonna knock that one a little bit just because he's played for terrible teams anyway. So
yeah, but
good point. That's why it's just numbers until you reason them.
But okay, ignore the straight ups, but look at the against the spreads because that's why the handicap's there. If his
60, 103.
That's not very good. Okay, especially when you're getting 25 points and you still can't cover that son of a bitch.
Well, if you play for the Pistons and the Cavaliers, you'd understand, Tony Finn.
Hold on.
Now, who had 30 rebounds last night? I was on a jet.
No. Go back to maybe Friday. Enes Kanter had 30 rebounds.
Has anybody had more than that in the last since 1995?
Oh, do you have?
It's time for trivia. I forgot to say the segment. We're on the trivia segment now.
Okay, so you have the answer though. Is the point?
Yeah, because I was looking at my database and cheating.
What's the $1 million question?
That's all right. So we can guess.
There's one player that has exceeded 30 rebounds in a game in seasons played since 1995 with 31. For a trip to McDonald's, can you name him?
Yes. Karl
Don't
Malone.
look it up, Tony.
John Stockton.
Well,
No, I really can't.
since 1995.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Good answer, but that is incorrect. If I give a team, it's going to give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the big rebounders in the '90s. I mean, were Rodman, but I don't think Rodman ever had 31.
His last name is a 4-letter word.
Love.
There you go.
Hate.
There you go.
Love.
There you go.
There you go, Kevin
That
Love.
makes sense. Makes sense.
We'll get that gift card right out to you.
How did UCLA not win a title when they had Russell Westbrook,
Darren
Kevin
Collison.
Love, Darren Collison? They had 4 NBA players on that starting unit. It's crazy. I'm missing the 4th. It was the
Aflalo?
Was it Ben Howland? Who's
Aflalo, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Aaron Aflalo. And who was the forward? He played in the NBA too. He had a double last name. Number.
He wasn't
12.
that good, right? He was like Craig Smith.
In the
Craig
NBA,
Smith?
he wasn't that good, right?
Who coached that team?
No, it's not Craig Smith.
Ben Howland? Who coached that team?
I want him, maybe.
It has to be Ben Howland, right?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Ben Howland didn't have. Listen, he had more success at UCLA and gets credit for. Although, I don't know. I don't think Wooden's. I don't think you have John Wooden there right now. It's going to be a completely different kind of animal than they're
here
used
it
to
is.
seeing.
Mba Mute.
Oh, yeah.
Mba Mute was on that team too and played in the NBA. So I mean, what a team! Holy shit!
Westbrook wasn't that good back then, though, and he wasn't like the playmaker for real. He was like the shooting guard. and just come in and bring the energy.
Right?
Right.
Collison was a better player back then.
Definitely.
Yeah, because Westbrook probably shot
That is amazing.
% from the field.
You have to win a national title with that team. I'm sorry.
That's
How did they end up?
Final Four, maybe, or
Final Four, I think.
yeah. And see, this is how you guys know that's my team, because you know how much I follow college basketball.
Yeah, right.
You know how to spell
true.
it?
You knew those guys.
NCAA. That's easy.
Yeah.
That was a good team,
Yeah.
but anyway, again, off the rails. Tone, baseball, anything tonight? What are you looking at?
I've been riding. I've been pretty successful on a no-brainer, in my opinion, and that was that the Padres, even without their anchor at shortstop, Texas and Pittsburgh, 2 series. I said, just bet the run line. They're on the road. Bet the run line every game, and now it's up to. I bet them yesterday on the run line, or two games ago. They got a 9th inning home run to cover against Texas, 2-0. Yesterday, pretty easy against. Although it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. And today we'll see Snell against Cool and the gang, but minus 140. It's a $1.50 minus 40, and it may go to 50. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. The problem with that is Snell. They're probably going to limit him, so I want to see him be efficient and go 6 innings. But we'll see. San Diego's bullpen got saved a little bit, but you remember on Sunday when the kid got injured, they 8.5 innings from the pen on Sunday. Really put a kink in this series coming up, Pittsburgh. But Darvish did a good job. You know, Darvish in 9 years in the MLB, in Major League Baseball, has two complete games in 9 years. Why? Because he doesn't. That's the way he pitches. You know, he throws about 50 miles an hour. Not quite the Greinke 51 mile an hour curveball strike yesterday. 51 miles an hour.
And you know,
Well, he was thrown into the wind.
Walk faster than that.
I have a couple of baseball questions, games that I'm looking at. I didn't go too deep into them.
Shoot.
Maybe you guys can help me out a little bit. But,
Sure.
I was looking at 2 games, and the first one I'm looking at is the night game. I think it's the Reds and the Giants. For one, the Giants are 9-1 to the first 5 under. I think Castillo is going to be a pretty solid pitcher. Gosman's been pretty good this year, but I don't think he's that good in general.
Gosman's 30 years old and he's 3 years late for his prime. He's
Well
topping
said.
out at 98 and very efficient.
Always
Command's
had it.
good. Don't sleep on this kid.
Okay, so then
He's
I probably
about
can
30.
get with that first 5 under then.
Well, I don't like the 7.5.
Yeah.
I think 7.5. I don't.
First
Yesterday's
5 is 4.
First 5 he wants.
Oh, first 5. Okay, I was gonna say I bet the under in that game yesterday with 2 guys with Sanchez and Miley. Well, people say what?
3-0. 3-0 cash. Funny story about Kevin Gosman, real quick. When he was at LSU, and he was an All-American at LSU.
Yeah.
Between innings, when he'd come off the mound, he'd go into the dugout and eat donuts.
Yeah.
And he got to Baltimore because Baltimore drafted him, and Showalter was the manager there, and he just ended the donut eating. But that kid had all the talent in the world, and never, like you're saying, he never really realized it until last year. I think really was the first time I started to trust the guy.
Those numbers are. He was one of the
got
ones.
The stuff. He's got the stuff.
Yeah, he does. He does.
We like it, Ski. 5 inning under. We like it.
Cool. I like hearing that. If you don't mind, the last one I want to ask you, the Marlins. If you guys can just, I don't have the pictures right here, but I was looking at them. The Marlins are pretty solid versus I think it's lefties, and the Braves are pretty solid versus righties. I was thinking unless the pitchers are that good, the starting pitchers, I like the game to go over.
Yeah, righties under righty.
Lopez
is undervalued. I mean, I had Marlins yesterday as a dog, and I got fortunate in that a little bit. But I'm a big. That's a bullpen that got shattered, got beat up pretty bad by Philly, so that's why I liked him yesterday. But no, righty versus righty. Atlanta can't hit left-handers.
Okay. Yeah.
Lopez is right-handed, I think, isn't he?
Right.
He is. And Max Fried's a lefty.
Right.
Oh, there we go. I had it mixed up then, I guess.
Fried struggled a little bit last start, but he's listen. He has some. If they'll let him use that pine tar, he's much better.
Marlins, if it helps me, I mean, with the Marlins, and I've cashed 3 tickets in a row with them. Whenever Sandy Alcantara pitches, either you're on him or you're on the under. And I know it would make Drew Martin proud to hear me say that because he loves his fish. But that guy's just like a ATM machine, right?
Yeah, he is.
Alcantara.
Yeah.
So it worked out yesterday. Extra innings, big plus price.
Yep.
But 5 inning unders with him are gold. Yeah, it's all gold.
Yes, it is.
I get the FX stuff because you guys know I like numbers, any kind of number.
What FX stuff do you get?
Well, it's the speed and the spin rates and all that kind of stuff.
You get all that stuff, do you?
Actually, my database goes back to 1884,
I need to talk.
which is before you were born, Tony, by player. I don't know what good it is, but I can say that I have that.
What year? 84?
1884.
Oh, that was a good year.
They had strange names back then, very strange names.
Yeah,
Good year.
George High Pockets Kelly.
So anyway, Lopez here.
Yeah.
Sinking fastball is probably one of the definitely high level in terms of Major League Baseball, in my opinion.
How many inches?
8.
8 inches is pretty good.
Horizontal movement, and then the sink is 5.8 here. I'm looking at 4-seam and sinker.
That's pretty good.
And I'm not sure why they have that 4-seam and sinker separated. Does that make any sense to you? I mean, every pitch he throws tails in big time late on right-handed batters. And his changeup moves even more. Believe it or not, it's 9.84.
Yeah.
Glove side or arm side movement onto it would be a right-handed batter. So he can start that pitch off the plate, and a right-handed batter will stand there and take strike 3.
Yeah.
So the over-under on that tonight is at least one Atlanta Braves batter will go down on strikes on that pitch, looking.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Bold statement, huh?
Well, I'm not
least
sure
one.
Jesus wouldn't go down looking at that pitch. My goodness gracious.
Well, I guess you watched that movie Major League then a couple of times.
Hey, that was a good movie.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. That
Ski, let me
scene.
give you
That
one
scene
more.
with a bunt.
It was.
Don't come after me if it doesn't get you paid next time out. But I started today because I watched and Tone and John. Here's another guy who I remember his first start with Seattle. He was so highly touted, and then it just went. The last 3 years have been down the drain. But Tawan Walker in his first start with the Mets this year looked right back to being Tawan Walker. 99-mile-an-hour fastball, movement all over the place. He had good command of the strike zone. So I played him today, 5 inning. And I'm just looking now, and it did cash. I think they were 2-1 winners after 5. And if you're looking just for solely pitchers, Ski, that like on the Mets, he's not going to be valued as high as DeGrom or somebody else, or even 5 inning unders with this kid. If you want to minus the bullpen out, just keep an eye on Walker because I think he's going to be. He looks like he's got it back. What he should have had his whole career is showing up now.
There's a few pitchers like that. You're right. Talent.
James Taillon.
That's right. If you leave the Pirates, you go anywhere, you're going to be better than you were.
They had Garrett Cole, Jamison Taillon, and who's the third, Tone? It was Joe Musgrove didn't come till 18, so he wasn't on that staff. But I just looked this up last night, and I can't remember now who the third guy was.
I really plan on making some money. I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I plan on making some money on Musgrove until he goes out and blows it, and pitches a damn no-hitter. There goes the price on him. We get him both first and second start. No hitters. Come on, guys. Good money to make. Now you got
Rob, what about the second game with the Phillies? Because I looked at that game. I wanted to take Philly, especially if they lost the first one.
I like the over in the first one, but doesn't.
The only thing, and the reason why, like I released that one I was just talking about. I released the clients this morning, the 5 inning under, and I was gonna play the Phillies game 2, same way to clients right away, but in those double headers, I'm always scared of the second game lineup, so I'm waiting until he posts his lineup. If he doesn't give guys a rest here, or if he runs the same starting lineup out there, we'll see. I'll have to wind up betting it for myself because it'd be too late to release it. But yeah, John, if they play their starting lineup, I like Nola.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go with it. That helps me a lot because I was really on the fence with that, but I wanted to take Nola. Stroman is not the Stroman from Toronto anymore, I don't think.
Joe West was
Had
And
it
one of
in
these
the first
times, Bryce Harper's going to break out. This is the first year of his career. He hasn't been batting like 350 at this point.
some year.
Tony,
he'll
you
break
got
out.
Marcus Stroman's ground ball numbers in that first outing? Because I remember seeing he threw a ton of grounders
I backed
in
him.
that. Yeah,
About
he looked
70%, almost 70%, which is an aberration.
that's
But Trent Gibson, today the umpires. See, Joe West was the umpire behind the plate. I don't know if it's the first or second game though. I thought it was the first Joe West is Country Joe.
Country Joe.
I didn't even know he was still umpiring.
He's got to be the star of every game, and he's got one of the worst most inconsistent strike zones. Very difficult for a pitcher to find a rhythm.
Well,
guys,
he had
tonight,
game one, Tone. I'm
He
just
was?
looking at it. He had game one, yeah.
and it's right now it's 2-1. What was the total? I saw a 6.5 is what I saw for the full obviously 7-inning game.
It was.
I didn't play it, but I would have been on the over.
Yeah, you're right about West, though.
Oh yes.
It's one thing to give off the plate, but if you're consistent,
Oh,
that's all anybody wants is consistency.
That's
you
the
can't,
most important thing.
Six
What
and a
McDonald's
half,
does
you were
right,
right.
they're consistent. Every McDonald's is always the same.
That's why I never got ejected from a baseball game as a manager. Granted it's 12 to 18U, but whenever I thought my kid was getting screwed, I'd go out between innings, and if the guy's name was Jack, I would say, "Hey Jack, just where's my kid missing so I can tell him where to throw it so you like it and you call a strike."
Absolutely.
And it worked. It worked every single time. Because then all of a sudden that same pitch that was 2 inches off the plate,
Right. There's tonight, guys. This minor league park, okay.
Yep.
This minor league park that Toronto's playing in, okay.
Yep.
Trip Gibson is behind the plate, and and let me tell you a little bit about Trip Gibson.
Not great,
The smallest strike zone. It's next to the nickname they call him Bread Box. That's not Trip, but one of the veterans,
Right.
That they call. The players call him Bread Box, and they always ask, "Why are you calling him Bread Box?" The size of his strike zone. That's why we call him Bread Box. This Trip Gibson. So tonight, the small park, you see that 9 with the heavy. It's a heavy 9.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, as we're talking, I went ahead and played. I just personally, being Tuesdays, as you well know, it's my degenerate day. It's Degenerate Tuesday. I have a certain amount I allot myself to just be stupid with. I just made a little play.
Well, it's Steve Merrill's money anyway. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Yeah. Right now, he's out bitching at some umpire that's screwing his kid.
I'm actually pulling up Gibson's stats just for fun.
Oh,
And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse for Angel Hernandez, guys, did you see that thing last week? He got the lowest grade of any home plate umpire in the last 22 years.
he's grandfathered though. See, he's grandfathered. He's tenured essentially. The old union rules there. That's why the new group that's coming in, these young kids, it's umpires. They're as close to robots. They're graded on that K zone, and for the most part, you're going to always have they're humans, so they're going to have to be very. But there's no Eric Gray. There's no Eric. There's just not the old days. Back in the late '90s, when you could really take advantage of an umpire, those strike zones were just vastly different between all the umpires.
You're right about Angel, though. Sometimes those strike zones, the upper part of the strike zone was just above the knees.
He's just
It's just like
guys. The problem is he's just not a cool. He didn't. There's a good reason why they didn't make him a crew chief is because he didn't have the demeanor to be his crew chief. He's just not a guy who you can trust to be calm in a situation that calls for that. Ski,
let me, since you're making your debut here, Do you want to give out? Why don't we just go around the horn here? We'll start with Ski with best bet for the night. Or you can have two, and you're not limited to a minute.
I probably would just go with that. I was looking at that baseball play that I mentioned at the end. I like that first 5 under the floor. It's been a moneymaker 9 out of 10 games for the Giants, and I'd like it to continue tonight.
I will
First
say
5 under with the Giants.
know that there's a 15-mile-an-hour wind blowing to center field out in San Francisco. However, the ball doesn't carry very well. Even with that, last night was almost the same thing, and it still ended up 3-0. It was a 12, 13-mile-an-hour wind blowing to center field at Old Candlestick. New Candlestick. Monster.
Last time a ball carried in
AT&T.
San Francisco was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tony.
No, you're fine.
But I think the last time a ball carried in San Francisco, Barry Bonds hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Yeah. Willie Mays would have hit 800 if he didn't.
It's true.
But who's the only? I mean, come on. When you
and
your
the
name's Barry
polo ground,
Bonds.
John.
Your name's Barry Bonds. They walked you with the bases loaded to
Yeah.
get out of the damn ninth inning.
Yeah.
Bases loaded, walked Barry Bonds. That's some
And
respect.
I think Ruth is the only other one, right? Or was it Henry Aaron?
I don't
I think
know.
it's Henry Aaron.
That's some respect. You want some respect?
Yep.
Wow. Yelich. Betts and Yelich both out tonight, by the way, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah, Bet's been out a while.
Yeah.
So we have Ski's best bet, and we know that's probably the best one of all of us.
Probably.
I don't mean to speak for all you rest of you guys, but it's nice to have some good, fresh blood on the show too.
Yeah.
I mean,
We love Ski.
there's only so many times we can tell Steve Merle we're betting with his money, and it gets old.
Broadcast the show from Mississippi.
Yeah. And then what was the other, like the food thing that you guys were talking about on the NBA show? The Swiss Miss.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Well, I think that's where you're neutral and you refuse to give a side.
Right.
Okay.
It took me a week to figure that one out because I tuned in to your
Swiss
shows,
Yeah.
and also I hear this Swiss Miss, and I'm thinking,
I got flagged. You get flagged. I'm on the fence in a game. I don't really care. You just get flagged. You get a little covered your face and covered with a Swiss flag.
Funny.
so Tony, you go next with your.
My best bet?
I know it's hard to come up with one, but you can do more than one though.
No, I only. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's the best bet, and it's far from. If you look at the peripherals and do all the work on the game, most would agree. But I like Strasburg tonight. I've had some intel that Strasburg is not only is he throwing harder than he's ever thrown, healthier than he's ever been at this point in the year. He's pounding the zone and the movement. Look at the X numbers on him. There's not one St. Louis guy, even Arenado, even the few bats that St. Louis have ever hit Strasburg. And I'm not the ace for the Cardinals. I know. Listen, if you take one of his games out last year, Flaherty, he still has pretty good numbers, but that pitching staff is not very good. I got a big play on the under season totals on the Cardinals, 86.5, and they're complying. I like Strasburg.
They certainly
the
are.
Nationals got the 3 position players back. You guys know that yesterday, right? It came in really. They're complete again, so they can compete. I was so worried about them not being able to compete in this NL East because it's a pretty good division, pretty damn good division.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a player in that division.
They're whole. They're whole right now. They are whole. And if they can get anything out of the old man, that refuses to, they think he's a day over 21, will pitch hurt, pitch drunk, pitch stoned. It doesn't matter. But Scherzer, if they can get some,
MIZ.
they really need to get some. They need to get a little more out of Scherzer, and they're going to be tough.
That bullpen worry you a little bit, right, Tony?
Yeah,
No.
it will. But who needs a bullpen when you got 9 innings from your starters? You don't need a bullpen.
Yeah, that's very true. Pat Corbin come back a little bit. We'll see. It seems too easy, John, so I won't do it to just play against the Texas Rangers against left-handed pitching. I mean, they're hitting 182. They haven't hit anybody in a week anyway. I mean, they had that opening series against Kansas City, and then we got to see the true colors of that. That's the worst lineup in the major leagues, bar none.
Yes.
That's the worst lineup
Yep.
that you could put on the field. So it's probably too easy to pick against them. So I'm going to go to Houston, and I'll play I'll play run line first 5 with Jake Odorizzi against Matthew Boyd for the Tigers. Now, one thing the Astros do is they pound left-handed pitching. It's been that way for about 3 years. And real quick, let me just say this facetiously, not saying that this is true or whatnot, but how crazy is it that the Red Sox have going into yesterday, had the best average in baseball, scored the most runs in baseball, in the American League, I should say, not in baseball. Best batting average, most runs scored, highest scoring team, and it only took 10 games for Alex Cora to get him there. So we want to know what kind of version of garbage can sounds he's using in Boston to get that offense back to the top so quickly. Houston's not using those same garbage can noises anymore. But I like Jake Odorizzi. First 5, run line, lay a half a run there with him. I just and you could probably stretch that out the full game. Let me do that even more. I'll stretch it out the full game and trust that the Astro bullpen is better than the Tiger bullpen at the end, because Houston hits those left-handed pitchers real well. Bregman had been hitting pretty good until last couple of games, but Brantley was back, hit a home run last night. Talk about a team that's whole offensively again. That team is whole offensively. So Houston's on a bit of a losing streak right here, so we'll bank on them to get out of it. But Houston, I'll go -1.5 runs, full game, John. Houston Astros here has the best bet.
And I guess that leads it down to me.
What do you got? What do you got?
Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers and what's with baseball? Aaron Nola. If they lose the first game, and it's the same lineup as Rob had suggested, so there's an example of exchange of information. Now I'm a little bit more bullish than I was instead of being on the fence, and I think that's a good play. I just wish that the Phillies could get an ace in there instead of and then put Nola as a number 2, because then I think he'd be one of the best number 2s in the National League. But for now it is what it is. But one of these days, Bryce Harper's gonna break out with a huge game. It's just a matter of time. Now tomorrow, I want you guys, if you have time before the show, to prep on that Brooklyn Nets Sixers showdown. And I've already looked at that game, and I like teams with defense. Just a little hint of who I might be leaning on already. I don't buy. I haven't bought the Nets since the trade, and I still don't. And we've seen Ben Simmons bring it on defensively time and time and time again ever since he entered the league, but especially this year. So that'll be a fun game to talk about. And Ski, you're always welcome to appear for the show. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. I know there's a lot of information here from the 1800s that Tony and I talked about today that you have no interest in. But you did a good job appeasing us, right, Tone?
Yes. Yeah, I just can't believe that's who Reggie Jackson is. Man, that's shocking.
I think he was kidding.
Yeah, so. Definitely.
He was kidding.
I hope he knew that was Michael's older brother.
And Tony is always trying to give me a hard time. Hey, Tony, Trae Young got ruled out. So do you still like the Hawks?
Yeah, I just don't like him as much.
Well, the line probably adjusted.
It hasn't gone anywhere. I'm staring
really?
at it right now.
Give it a couple minutes.
Listen. The Atlanta has won all year. They've been missing somebody, 2-3 players every game all year.
Yeah. Well, they did it Sunday against Charlotte.
Yes. Yeah.
2 days ago. Right.
So Trae Young is not playing. Right.
Trae Young is not playing.
He's coaching like the King, James. He's the coach tonight.
I think I'll be able to do this pretty quick.
Trae
Young not playing the game. Let's see what the Hawks are.
I'm gonna guess they're 500.
And it's not just Trey Young, right? I mean, it's all those other guys that have been out for
Right. Collins.
a week and a half. Cam Reddish hasn't played in forever, but Collins and
I forgot what it looks like. I forgot what Reddish looks like. It's been so long.
Hold on, I got it in the player category here. I like doing this kind of stuff. It's real quiet.
Don't have to hear Tony talking all day.
I know it's the end of the day. How do you spell Trey?
TR
EY.
Trey, right?
no
TR
And
no,
Young.
No. TRAE.
Yeah, EA. Tyree.
EA, right?
TYREE.
AE.
It's AE, right?
There you go.
AE. Correct.
We'll get you a new database that you don't have to spell correctly. Just to spell correctly.
Yeah. Well, actually, I can do the first initial, last initial, and then it pops up a bunch of names. But
Here come the moves,
right.
Keith. Side and total moving like crazy now.
well, I can't bring it up, so I won't waste any more time.
Well,
I got-
you dig into that because I'll ask you, hey, what was that number without Trey Young? Both I want to combine them. I want Oklahoma and Atlanta record without Trey Young.
Let me try one more.
Ski, we
Total-
just taught Ski something because you know how he feels about college basketball. He told him where Trey Young played college basketball at.
Oh, I watched him play college basketball, and I can't think of where it was. He was the only guy who did anything.
He was the only white guy on the team. The only white guy on the team.
Stop it.
I know when I watched, it was literally just him doing everything.
Yeah, well, and he has no shame. He had no shame in college because if he had the ball and you wanted to shoot, you had to almost go take it out of his hands.
I hear you.
Lon Kruger, Oklahoma Sooners.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, I
Yeah.
still do watch it. I just not as much as you guys.
I give you a good
Well, for
one.
whatever reason, I'm not getting anything back.
Well,
So
I was surprised to see Lon retire, but I don't think he's done yet. I don't think he's done. I think we might see him again out here in the desert. Ski, coaching UNLV.
Who?
Lon Kruger.
I don't know that
You
one.
know, Jack Hartman's son.
Oh, okay. Wait. Now you're kind of ringing a bell a little bit.
Well, you weren't Jack Hartman, 1800s. That was my Jack Hartman when K-State used to be good. Rolando Blackman and Lon Kruger and the Run DMC members that came out of that group,
Mitch Richmond.
K-State. Huh? I'm telling you what, Mitch Richmond, monster.
Oh
Richmond
my
played
God! I know
today.
Mitch Richmond in NBA, so I can only imagine when he was in college.
Well, if he was playing now.
tremendous.
In this day and age, in the environment we play in, where 50 points is just a spit on the sidewalk in Singapore, he was a monster, man. He was a monster. Those were pretty good Golden State teams too.
I'll tell you the answer tomorrow about Trey Young after the game is over.
Thank you.
I'll tell you the line movement in that game. The total's going down 2 full points, 222.5.
Pick them now.
Not quite, Tone. I see one pick'em and some a lot of ones across all the offshores and then across our screen too with the Las Vegas.
I played them. I
Outlet.
played that game at a money line. I played at 130 minus 130. So I'll say this: I won't hesitate to get another percent or two if I can get
Yeah,
double
because it's
points.
telling me that at Westgate you can get plus 105.
Yeah.
It's
There you go.
gonna be.
Yeah.
It's still gonna come down. They
Yeah,
got
we
an
got-
hour before it. Oops.
Yeah. That's just we know, like I said, Chase. If you're chasing injuries this year, you're a loser.
Yeah. No.
What
it's
if
true.
what if you beat the injury?
Well, don't get me wrong. Even the injuries, public wins every once in a while. But if you chase injuries this year, you're not a winner. Every time you see this injury and the line's going crazy, it's just fade that.
That's another broadcast for Steve Merrill by himself because he can tell you how he invented that system and how he's ridden that too. Like one of those infomercials where he's ridden it to success, and now he's going to hold classes across the country for everybody to learn.
And Steve will have he'll have a sales pitch perfect. That will be written perfectly, and he will execute it perfectly.
Absolutely.
He's a machine. Steve, we love you, but you're a machine when it comes to sales pitch.
So funny.
Hey, let me clarify a little bit on my best bet. I said under 4 because that's what I was looking at earlier in the day. I only see 3.5s available, but there's a 3.5 plus 105, and I still will take that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the money's on your
That's
side.
realistic.
Steve. The money is on your side, pal. It's all coming in that way, rightfully so. I mean,
I like Castillo today. I was close to back in the Reds too, so I like
you can throw that 10.
I like him too, the pitcher.
Throw those 10 runs out in that opening day when he's pitching the snow. Just throw it out.
right.
Really, throw that baby out. I mean, and look what he did. Now, again, it was the Pirates last game. So there's the caveat in that it was the Pirates, and next to the Rangers, the Pirates' offense is not good. So, but Castillo is a guy that hasn't. He's just got his stuff is just wow. And
that changeup is nuts.
Yeah.
When that changeup is right, I mean, he'll strike out 14 if that changeup is right.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Giants bats aren't great either. I don't think.
No, they're not. Listen, they have an 89 WRC plus. I mean, both those teams are under 90. They're under teams. Both of them should be played to the under.
Yep.
Especially in Monster, AT&T, Old Candlestick. That stadium, wind or no wind, it's hard to. It's so cool. The air is so cool at night. It's tough to hit a ball out. It really is.
Yeah, you might have gotten some early season value too, Tone, because Cincinnati started off so hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at the Cincinnati offense. It's not that great of an offense.
No.
It's really not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. On Monday when I was looking, I think their average was like 8 point something runs per game. I know it's not sustainable.
Right.
No. It's gonna be fun. I am gonna get interested now, and I'm gonna probably. It's getting close. I got a little bit of work to do, a couple of videos, and I'm gonna enjoy some baseball tonight and some basketball because I think. Yeah,
it's all good.
I think there'll be a good night to have a tequila and watch some basketball.
Absolutely, John. Thanks.
Yep, I agree.
The three of us together.
Yeah, we went. We went a little bit longer than we always said. Ski, when this show started out, we agreed that it was going to go 30 minutes, and we couldn't do it, and it was going to be 45 minutes. So that's why I say if you have 15 minutes to pop in, and then you got to go. I'll make these two guys stay with me, but anybody can pop in and out. That's the whole idea.
Well, that's why I did, John. That's why I did my work before I came on because I knew if I just go ahead and go on and do I won't get it done. We'll be on here for a while. I won't get it done. I got to get it done.
You can't have a 30-minute show with Tony Finn on here. You know that.
Not if you let me talk.
John, in a lot of ways, this show.
Wouldn't try.
In a lot of ways, this show we're doing, end of the day, is helpful just to us personally.
Yes.
When it comes to
it's
pulling up
therapy.
the account and pressing some keys here. So
therapy. It's therapeutic.
Me, Ski, and I were talking about.
I think so too.
The later, the better nowadays because this early stuff. You say stuff on shows that 2 hours later is old news. It's brutal.
Right.
For what it's worth, I had Marco for that horse race show, and as I was nervous the first couple shows with you guys, you get to know each other and then you relax. But he said that he really liked the style that we were trying to create here. The pub atmosphere, even though we have a grand piano in the background. we're exchanging, we're exchanging information, and it's great.
If he had a dancing girl on the top of that grand piano.
Well, you can't because it's open. She'd slide right off.
If you got the right girl, we'll close it for her, wouldn't you, Ski?
Yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
We want to see you Paul Pierce it, Ski.
I don't want to get fired after.
Hey, Monica, if you're in town, roll through.
I think it's a good time to end the show, fellas. So, Ski, hey, I'll send you the link every day. You just let me know whether it works or not. I have Steve Merrill tomorrow at 1:00, so I will definitely share every single thing you guys said bad about him.
Oh, Steve is on. I'm
Especially, what'd you say? He was a robotic neural net machine.
I said he's a machine. His sales pitches are smooth as silk. He's a machine.
I mean, are they believable?
I don't know.
Would you buy a car from him?
He must do so much Adderall and meth because he must stay up like all night practicing that speech because it's freaking perfect.
Oh, God.
That's a hell of a combination.
Oh, man. An hour and 20 minutes. I'm starting to lose my mind. All right, so, Ski, thanks a lot for being on the show. Great to have you on board. Rob and Tony, always great time here. It just gets better and better, in my opinion. And for myself and the Predictive Playbook, may all the wins be yours.
I'll take them. Thanks for having us.